please rise in body and spirit as we sing our gathering hymn, Building Bridges, number 1023 in your teal hymnal.
We'll sing it in unison once, and then we're going to sing it as a round in two parts. So half the room will sing with me and Pal, right? You're gonna talk, right? And afterwards going to sing with Heather and Kim.
Did I have to sing with Heather and Kim because I can't sing alone?
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Our building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough. Whew, I think I'm going to get verklempt. Otherwise known as UUCH, NC.org. In this place, we strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support in matters of religious faith. To some, religious faith means the belief in a deity or spiritual force. For others, it means a faith in the goodness of people. As an ethical humanist myself, I come here today searching for my faith in humanity. Collectively, as a group of religious, liberal, progressives, deeply moral people, we come together to support one another in our search for truth and meaning. As Unitarian Universalists, we do not require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief. Here, there are no sacred texts. Rather, you are welcome to read all, none, any of the sacred text and believe what speaks to you. As you use, we do not have a single one. Rather, we are a covenant community built on our promises to love, support, be kind to, and listen to one another. So whoever you are, member, guest, or friend, and for whatever reason you came here today to be with us, whether you're here in person or online, we welcome you with open arms, and we will try to love you with an open heart, and we want to know you with an open mind. My name is Allison Mahaley. Today, I am the Master of Ceremonies. This is a role that is shared by many other amazing worship associates. Raise your hand if you're a worship associate or on the worship team. Yes, so many of us. As a lay-led congregation, nearly every single person in this room is a contributing volunteer. A lot of work, some done by paid staff and some done by our generous volunteers, goes on behind the scenes to make sure that our services happen and that our campus is beautiful. And we are more than just a Sunday service. We celebrate a myriad of holidays. We take time to socialize. We take care of one another. We engage in social justice activities. We teach our children. So let's give a round of hand praise to everybody. Today, I am also honored to welcome a good friend of mine, Dr. David Campt. David will be our speaker today. David is an accomplished speaker, a professionally trained speaker. He's an incredibly gifted facilitator and trainer in the art of dialogue. He is an entrepreneur. He owns The Dialogue Company, where I had the pleasure of being a partner for almost 5 years before my retirement. I invited David to speak here today many months ago at our post-election service to help us consider how we might engage in healing the deep divisions in our nation. Today, I hope that we can lean into this message about compassion and consider how we might forgive America and move forward. Good luck, David. I fear the mood is bleak. Each Sunday, after our sermon, we take up a monetary offering to support various worthy causes. That's why there's a basket on the altar. For the month of November, our plate offering will go to the Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry of North Carolina. UUJMNC organizes UUs to co-create a transformative movement for justice through spiritual grounding, collaboration, and imagination. Reverend Lisa Garcia Sampson leads the group and hosts a Friday action hour each week. Details are in the e-news and in our newsletter about how to join that effort. And might I add, just as UUs were on the forefront during the first Trump administration, I know that we will be there again. So please consider how you and we might be in solidarity with the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina. Before we create our time for worship, I'd like to remind everyone that after the service, we do offer a time of coffee and tea here in the sanctuary to get to know each other even more. If you're visiting today, welcome, and please consider staying so that we can get to know you a little better. Also, at this time, please take a moment to look in your order of service for the announcements that are on the back. And we will also take a brief moment to share any other urgent announcements that are not in the list. So please check. And also, if you would now, take out your cell phone and change it to silent mode. Yeah, circus music is disruptive.
Hi y'all, I'm Amy. I'm the program administrator here. And I have some announcements. Hold on, I wrote something down because that's where I'm at today. Sanctuary is defined as a place of refuge or safety. People are seeking sanctuary right now. Yeah, we just had to bring more chairs in because we have visitors, like a lot of visitors, and that's not going to stop. People need safe spaces right now, and this safe space needs y'all. You're going to get a lot of calls for volunteering in the coming weeks and months. We have people rotating off a lot of our teams and committees. We need people to step up and help out so we can keep our doors open and provide this sanctuary, this refuge, this safe space for anyone who needs it, and also go out into our community and fight for sanctuary everywhere. So pay attention, okay? Newsletter, I'm gonna hopefully be doing more announcements about opportunities. But I hope to see more volunteers signing up. We got work to do, y'all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I have an announcement today, this afternoon, at 4 o'clock. There's a webinar that's hosted by the UU Animal Ministry, which we are a member. The webinar is about how our legislative process works and ways that you can become an effective advocate for animals that lawmakers will listen to. If you want to register for that webinar, the link is in your e-news, or you can talk to me and I will send it to you if you're not yet on our e-news.
Hi, I'm Patty, and I know you all know the e-news about our Thanksgiving meal after next week's service. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. There is a sign up in the e-news if you want to sign up. Otherwise, just bring something that you know is vegetarian or vegan. The announcement I really want to make about that is to please bring a list of your ingredients that you put in whatever dish you bring. We do have people with allergies in here, and a common allergy, an uncommon allergy we have is a spice that we use this time of year, cinnamon. So, you know, we have to be careful that everybody's safe in what we bring to eat. And lastly, something. I'm sorry, I'm befuddled this week, like many of you might be. If I think of it, I'll tell you later. Oh, I remember. Can I just say it? I don't have to. I brought 2 packages of vegan Jell-O online, just because I thought, well, we can try it. I don't know what it's going to be. So if anybody wants to try that out, I'm happy to give you a package of vegan Jell-O to make. Jell-O. Go figure. I don't know. I don't know how it works. You order it.
Hi, I'm Aurora. I am the team lead for our Children's and Youth Religious Exploration team. We have a lot of visitors, so I just kind of want to tell you what is going on right now. We are working on a series of sacred story skits. We've got 3 plays. If your child is a visitor today, they are welcome to be in it, even though it's kind of the last minute. The performance is next week, but we can always take stage crew. Or if they just want to come and watch and maybe play with some Play-Doh and draw some drawings, that is fine. The kids will leave right before the sermon. So that's going to be something going on. If they want to be in the play, we have dress rehearsal after the service today, so they're welcome to stay. If that's a lot for a new person, totally understand, that's fine. But come next week and you can actually see the sacred story skits. It's going to be a lot of fun. After that, we're going to do some service work. We're going to decorate lanterns for solstice. And then we're going to do some singing for, we have a really cool festival of lights. And so there'll be singing practice for that in December. So that's kind of looking ahead to what's going on.
You reminded me, the Mahaley Solstice Party is happening, so mark it down. Okay. Let's prepare ourselves for a time of reflection and celebration known as worship by reminding ourselves of who we are and why we gather. We are Unitarian Universalists. Unitarian Universalism draws from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. The chalice is the symbol of our faith and our bright love. By lighting it each time we gather, we remind ourselves of the promises we make to live our shared values of interdependence, transformation, justice, equity, and generosity. By lighting our chalice, we declare for the next hour that this is sacred space. This Place is Sanctuary by Kathleen McTeague. You who are brokenhearted, who woke today with the winds of despair whistling through your mind, come in. You who are brave but wounded, limping through life and hurting with each step, come in. You who are fearful, who live with shadows hovering over your shoulders, come in. This place is sanctuary, and it is for you. You who are filled with happiness, whose abundance overflows, come in. You who walk through your world with lightness and grace, who woke this morning with strength and hope, you who have everything to give, come in. This place is your calling, a riverbank to channel the sweet waters of your life, the place where you are called by the world's need. Here we offer in love. Here we receive in gratitude. Here we make a circle from the great gifts of breath, attention, and purpose. Come in. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, We Are a Gentle, Angry People, number 170 in your gray hymnal.
Just one slight lyric change. In verse 5, where it says we are gay and straight together, we'll sing we are queer and straight, just because we know that that encompasses more different people.
In Need of Healing by Reverend Maureen Killoran. Welcome, you who come in need of healing, you who are confused or have been betrayed. Welcome with your problems and your pain. Welcome to your joys and wonderings. Welcome your need to hope, your longing for assurance. Instead of answers, here you may find safety for your questions. Instead of promises, may you find community for your struggles. People with hands and hearts to join you in engaging the challenges and changes of our day.
Sharing joys and sorrows is a special ritual included in our Sunday services. This ritual happens in two parts. First, sharing out loud, and then silent acknowledgement of concerns and sorrows, or joys, or special moments and milestones that have occurred since we last gathered. Both parts include dropping stones into the vase on the altar, symbolizing our metaphoric communal collection of our experiences. By taking time to share, we strengthen the bonds between us. So first, we're going to take time to share out loud. Rest assured that we do not record or broadcast what is shared out loud. Therefore, those joining online, there will be a short break. Concern. Before we begin, please take a moment to center yourself. Collect thoughts that you share, what you share this heartfelt For those of you who want to silently acknowledge your joys and sorrows remaining in your heart, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone into the vase as Aviva plays Voice Still and Small. After she plays it through once, we will all join in singing this meditation hymn. The words are printed in your order of service. Now I believe the children are going to go and rehearse their play. Did you say everything you need to say about RE? Great. So we're going to sing the kiddos away with the children's blessing in your order of service.
Two years ago, I was doing a lot of work on white ally conversations all around the country and online. And I worked with various people, Allison, my friend Matthew, other people, and we would go around the country and online encouraging people to approach conversations with people who didn't believe racism was real from a stance of compassion and open-heartedness. And so we became pretty good at that. We had a program, conversation, ask questions, connect with other people, and try to grow their thinking. And so we were kind of like the compassion ambassadors, trying to speak to that. So then a couple years ago, we were about to give a presentation, and I had worked with one of my colleagues, and it was ready. We were ready in advance, and we started talking about other things in our lives. And this colleague talked about frustration she had with a sister who was a one-issue voter about abortion, and my colleague
It was me. Just tell him. It was me.
And so my colleague was talking about her frustrations around this person, and I sometimes, I just want to strangle her, and I just can't, and I can't deal with her views. And I was like, well, I mean, we teach this, and you know how to do that. You know what to do. And she said, yeah, but it's so frustrating. And I started to become more agitated. I mean, look, we go around teaching this. You know how to do this. You can handle this from a stance of compassion and persuasion. And she said, well, it's difficult. Well, I don't care how difficult it is. You should do that. And at some point she goes, maybe you need to stop being so agitated. And then I said, what? Yeah. She said, you are being intolerant of my intolerance for my sister's intolerance. And of course, that was actually accurate. And so part of what we all have to do in this difficult time is to figure out what is our stance toward other people as we try to expand the circle of concern. As we try to teach that, how do we have to think about how important is that and how do we do that? And that's what I want to talk about. I want to thank Allison and this church and the UUs generally. I've always thought that this is a good place to do wet ally work because y'all are the peace and love people. Y'all are the whitest of the major congregations. You're the most liberal of the major congregations. So I've always thought that this is a good place for this work. So as we deal with the sadness of what happened this week, the lamentations, the recriminations, we must look to the future. And so through our tears, we must look for some silver linings. I have always thought, and certainly in the past 10 years, that America's future will turn on the quality of conversation among white people. And so what we have to figure out is what can we do to improve that quality. So I want to share a few remarks on that topic. So let me ask this question. I'm going to ask it, let me think about it, and then I'm going to have you put your hands up. So the question is, how many people have you purposefully created some emotional distance from because of their political views? So you've, all the way from broken off relationships, so just don't talk to them as many. You have constantly chosen to do that. And so I would ask, if you have done that, raise your hand. If you've done that with more than one, put the number of fingers, and if it's 5, just put up the 5. So let's look around. So basically, the vast majority of us have done that. Okay, thank you so much. So that's useful to see that. So one of the things that I noticed, I am a new TikToker. I've been on Facebook and all that for a while. I'm a new TikToker. And one of the things that I noticed is that before the election, there were so many white allies who were talking about what they were going to do after the election. After the right side won, after we moved into a new administration that was about empathy and caring and inclusion. And you should have seen these people talking about how I'm not going to let those people forget what they did. They're talking about their relatives and friends who voted on the other side. I'm not going to let them forget. They can't memory hold this. I'm going to hold them accountable. And there was a spirit of anger as almost punishment as they anticipated doing that as a way of making sure those people didn't memory hold what they had done. So one of the things we got to deal with now is the coalition of empathy and compassion is not in the majority. That's what arguably, that's what the result means. And so as much as I was railing against that attitude as something that's not useful to healing, now it's a different challenge. That attitude is not useful to building a political coalition that might win. Clearly, some persuasion work is needed. And so, despite that reality that we should all see, that part of the meaning of this election is that we, in the coalition of the empathetic, part of what we have to do is to do more persuasion work. That's clear from the result of the election. Still, a whole bunch of people all over the place, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc., are like, I'm not talking to those people. Those people some of whom are in my family, they're unsafe. They voted against my interest. They voted against the interest of people I care about. So I'm not going to deal with them. So it's the same kind of, it's a different type of punishment or enact. I'm going to exert my will even by removal and not talk to them. And people are cutting off relationships because of that reason. So the first thing we have to accept, perhaps a silver lining, is that we in the coalition of the empathetic have to recognize we got more work to do. We got some persuasion work to do, and we can talk about how we might do that, but we have to recognize that the extremes of that healing, that pushing away, doesn't pursue our long-term interests because we are not in the winning political coalition. That's true in general, and it's certainly true for white people. The coalition of the empathetic is not in the majority. So the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is our role in addressing that? It's not all on people you see on TV. Some of that work is on us. And so we must ask the question, are we ready to do that work? So that's one silver lining, that we can't put off the persuasion and healing. We can't put it off. If we're going to make this a short retrenchment and not a forever entrenchment, we have to do some more work. So my hope is that over time, people like the ones in this room, y'all and other people in other UUs and other white folks in general, can think, okay, are there one, two, or three people, are there a couple of people that are in my circle that I might have distanced myself from already, or I haven't yet, but who I'm thinking about not talking to as much, that instead I need to find a different way of engaging them in order to move them over. Because there's going to be controversies, there's going to be pain, there's going to be mass deportations, there's going to be pressure on librarians, pressure on journalists. My thinking is that we need to be able to stand in enough relationship with people who might support that, who voted for that, and some of whom might be surprised that would happen, where we can say, we can have an authentic conversation. Is this what you voted for? Not, is this what you voted for? But is this what you voted for? To have a real conversation about that. That's the way you build a political movement, maybe even a cultural movement over time, not from a stance of superiority, of I told you so. That is not persuasive. Okay, so one silver lining is we recognize we can't put off that other work to the infinite future. We need to recognize that. Now, how do we do that? What's the spiritual, perhaps even the emotional or spiritual challenge that we need, the stance we need to take? So my best attempt at articulating it and still workshopping this is something called compartmentalized contempt. All right, that was positive. All right, here's what that means. You need to have contempt for people's views, but not contempt for them. How do you do that? How can you maintain that? Yeah, they have views that I have deep contempt for, but I'm not having contempt for them. I'm not demonstrating contempt for them. How do you do that? And be in a place of integrity. And that doesn't mean you ignore things, but doesn't mean you're constantly displaying contempt to them, because that's not effective. So let me tell you a time when I first kind of got this, even though I have those words for it. So I went to Princeton University. My freshman year was 1978. And women hadn't been at Princeton for like 10 years. Black people maybe 13. So, you know, the diversity was new to Princeton University. So one of the things that would happen, because, you know, Princeton people have kind of big egos. And so one of the things that we as freshmen would talk about is how frequently white people would ask us what was our SAT score. And this might happen like when you're first talking to somebody. It might happen after a little bit of getting to know them. It might happen several weeks into the semester. Your roommate might ask you that question, right? So we were, a group of us were in the cafeteria. We were talking about this again because it is kind of irritating. And this person came up to us who was a senior. Name was Mavis. She was significantly old. She was one of those people who was older than us and seemed even older than that. Like she just, there's always the black don't crack, and everyone say it was cracking, but her carried herself in a way that she seemed grandmotherly even to us at the time. She was probably 30 years old, maybe if that. And so as we were talking about this, she said, what do you think of this, Mavis? She said, well, you might need to think about the mind over matter principle. And the mind over matter principle is, if those people mind that you're here, you got to remember that they don't matter, right? These other students. If your professors don't want you here, that's one problem, and some of them don't. But these other students, you don't need to be distracted by the fact that they are questioning your capability. And then she talked about, like, this wasn't long. This was in 1978, so this is not that long after Little Rock 9. It's not long after Ruby Bridges. We are all seeing the videos, we're too young to witness it on TV, of people who had to be escorted into schools because of white resistance. So she reminded us of that and saying, it's a headache that these people are asking about your SAT scores. But let's remember the resistance that people have had to face that's a little bigger than that. So she reminded us that what we have the capacity to do is to make them matter less. So if they're in a study group with them, you can still be in a study group with them. You're not trying to diminish their humanity, but their irritating views don't have to matter where you're overly hurt, much less or even distracted by their views. And I just want to raise to y'all that it might be something like that compartmentalized contempt that we need to remember if we're going to engage people who have problematic views. I had study group partners who were asking me that. I'm not going to stop talking to them because they asked me that question. They clearly question my validity, but not so much they're not in the study group with me. So I have to deal with them from a place of a reasonably open heart, just like black folks have had to do for hundreds of years. So the ambiguity of, I'm dealing with this person, we have a certain set of things we do, but I know they carry these views. We have had to learn how to calibrate our spirits so that we are still dealing with them with a reasonably open heart, aware of what's taking place, but not distracted by the fact that they have views that are deeply problematic. That's a challenge to do that. But there's a tradition of doing that. That is possible to do that. And so part of what I hope happens is that white folks start talking about the challenge in doing that and the need to do that. That's, I think, a silver lining in this disastrous election. And there's an interesting irony on that, which is that kind of work takes energy. It takes emotional energy to do that. Part of what we need to start talking about is what is that energy. But what's interesting is that, this is David's analysis, part of what's going on in society is that a whole bunch of people are having grievances around how society is changing. Because it's including people who were no before, it's including Latinos, including gay folks, including trans folk, go down the list. And people don't like that because it requires energy to deal with that. You got to worry about doing a microaggression. Am I using the right pronouns? There's all stuff that you have to worry about that they didn't have to worry about before, and they don't like that. So part of what our job is to say, energy on that in ways that help you and help society, but a whole bunch of us ain't doing that. So how do we do that? We're not ourselves. So the question is, how do we have a good conversation about that? How do we work to deepen our well of compassion? How do we, and what happens when it gets empty? How do we put more water in it? How do we dig it deeper? Who are we calling to get support? Are we calling people who are going to help us put more resources back in our well of compassion, dig it deeper? Or are we calling people who are going to put cement in there and say, oh no, you shouldn't talk to them. You should dismiss them. Who are we relying on to help us stay in the game? So I know that you use, like the sermons to be between 16 and 18 minutes, and so I'm looking at the clock. So I would just say one last thing is that part of what is the opportunity here is that we can not only talk about the fact that we need to grow the coalition, the stance we have to do our piece of that, but we can start talking about the tactics for that. And the two basic tactics that are important to try to remind yourself to do is to manifest curiosity when you run across these situations, to ask questions. I wasn't doing that with Allison, right? I was not manifesting curiosity. I was telling her what to do, right? So that's an important thing to do. And then, of course, there's finding similarity. One of the blessings of, I'm sorry I treated you like that, Allison.
I've done worse.
Right. Is like, I now know what it means to fail in doing that. So I have that example to talk about. So these people who are not liking the diversity in society, sometimes talk about it directly, sometimes not talk about it directly, perhaps part of the work is finding that similarity in us and talking about that to invite them into grappling with it as opposed to just judging them as if we never do that. So, these tactics require energy, and people, sometimes we don't want to spend it, but if we're going to create the society we want, to expand the coalition of the empathetic, we will need to learn how to do that. So, I just want to give a quote, a not often known quote. Martin Luther King, he said something we must keep in mind today, both about society and the empathetic folks, the unempathetic folks in our lives. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. So, in case people are curious to talk to me more, what is the post thing called, Allison? Coffee? The post coffee?
Coffee hour. Okay.
I'll be at the coffee hour if y'all want to talk some more.
Actually, we've reserved the library for you.
Oh.
And have a
Ooh, I'm special.
yeah.
All right. Okay, we'll do that after the service.
After we get our coffee.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Coffee. Yeah, because people play the piano in here and, kids run around and stuff.
Sure. Okay. All right. Thank you.
As I said earlier, today our offertory goes to the UU Justice Ministry of North Carolina. You can donate by placing cash or checks in the offering basket, and if by check, please write plate in the memo line, or you can go to our website, uuchnc.org, and click the donate button, or in your order of service, there is a QR code. Please, please be generous. Please join me in a prayer of collective gratitude. The words are written in your order of service. For the friends beside us each morning, for the beauty of the day, and for the generous gifts just received, may we be filled with gratitude. Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, There Is More Love Somewhere, number 95 in your gray hymnal.
Practice repair, the Reverend Dave McFarland. Bless generously, curse rarely, practice repair. Read a book or a blog or watch a movie about something or some situation or someone beyond the ability to relate. Practice repair. Lean into comfort zones, strengths, and inklings of bliss. Practice repair. Pause to ask whether words are both skillful and absolutely necessary. Practice repair. Sing full-throated songs that create and recreate beloved community. Practice repair. Let go of stubborn self-righteousness and have mercy. Practice repair. Honor the ancestors who could not have imagined our lives or even our very being. Practice repair. Smile. Practice repair. Multiply joy. Divide sorrow. Practice repair.
Now we're going to extinguish our chalice. Repeat after me, or with me, in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.
You think it works?